Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Onpoint on our parent network, Focus on Liberia. Today is a very special day and a solemn one. We begin this show in tribute to my friend and brother, Edward Doe. A little over a year ago, we began this journey. Edward Doe was a very good friend of mine. We talked a lot, discussed a lot. Edward is no more. Tulay, can you take over,
Yeah,
please?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, bro. Edward meant a lot to all of us. I joined the show after Edward, stepped out, and I think there must have been reasons other than what we knew that caused him to step aside. But from the moment I joined the show until his demise, his sad passing, he kept in touch with me, and he would call me at odd hours, expressing. He would send me all these write-ups that he would do, and then when I don't respond, he will call me to find out why I didn't respond. And we had that kind of relationship. And but I knew Edward on in the space long before I came to join Focus on Liberia. Long time. We've been going back and forth on Facebook for a while now. And for me, he always struck me as somebody like a complete, what I would say, he was not agreeable. That's just how he had no stand-up position on anything. It's like he will be with a person today. Everyone will write up and support this person today. The next day, he's going hard against that individual the next day. So I think his main interest was Liberia. I think that was his interest. I think he really wanted to see, and a lot of us are like that. We want to see this country become something. That's what our that's what we yearn for, and that whoever was. So we want to welcome all of you today to On Point, on Focus on Liberia. We have with us our CEO, and today's a solemn. As much as we're going to discuss other things today, but we first want to eulogize our brother, to pay him the respect that he's due. Edo was a man of courage. He spoke his mind. He wasn't afraid. He rubbed some people the wrong way, like all of us would do, and he rubbed some people the right way. Is a part of life. You saw Edward, and he was a complete package. He was very opinionated. He spoke his mind. He wanted to. He expressed himself. He didn't fear anybody, and he was a great friend. And I really, really, really respected the dude. I really respected him. And Edward, I want to say rest well, brother. Till we meet again. I know I will pass it over to not Jerome, Dennis right now. I know Dennis has something to say. Dennis?
Thank you. As Jerome said, today is a sad day for all of us. This is the first On Point show since the passing, since we heard the tragic news of our brother here at Focus on Liberia. Before Edward joined Focus on Liberia, we have had him on the show. We have interviewed him. And so he came up with the idea of the show we have today, On Point. On August 15, 2020, Edward wrote, because before you have a show here, you have a proposal. So he wrote a proposal about On Point, and this is how he described the objective. I'm going back to this to tell you that Edward On Point show was the show that was initiated by Edward Doe. And he brought on his man, Jerome Gayman. That was my first time meeting Jerome. And so here was his objective. He said the objective of On Point is to go behind and in depth on the issues Liberia faces. That's the man Edward Doe that I know. And when he laid out, he said that was then the purpose of Onpoint is to bring real issues of discussion about Liberia and rebuilding and in the rebuilding and reconstruction process. So Onpoint was started in August 2020. So by September they had their first show, and Edward has George said he was opinionated. He believed what he believed and he stuck to his guns. And it didn't matter which side he supported. So he supported the issues. So Edward Doe can criticize this political leader today, and the next day, if the political leader does well, he will speak of that. So that's the man Edward we knew, and that's the man we work with here at Focus on Liberia. He was as you can see from this picture here, this is how he described himself, an opinion columnist. And Edward was that firebrand who went after the truth and spoke the truth. On behalf of all of us here at Focus on Liberia, we want to publicly sympathize with the bereaved family, his wife, Mariam, his mother, his brother, his siblings, and all his friends, even those he rubbed shoulder with. We say, have our condolences. I will pass it on to Jerome now, who's going to give us a little more details about the funeral and everything, so that we at Focus on Liberia will be part of it. Again, on behalf of all of us, we are sorry, and we want to remember our friend and fallen brother, Edward. And to Jerome, who Edward introduced to me, I say, Jerome, again, on behalf of Focus on Liberia, we are sorry for the passing of your friend and brother. And we at Focus on Liberia remember him as the one who spoke nothing but the truth. He spoke what he believed in. Whether you agree with him or not, he will do it. And that's how we want to remember Edward today.
Thank you very much. I met Edward in the 80s, so we basically grew up together as young men. And we have had so many discussions. But I will give you tentative schedule of what the family gave me. The funeral service is tentatively set for January 22nd. The family did not want to interrupt the holidays and be selfish, so they will wait until after the holidays that friends and families can get together to pay their respect to Edward Doe. Initially, she wanted to have the services in Richmond, but they relocated to Richmond, Virginia because of his job. But all his friends and relatives are in the Maryland area. So there's a little town that he affiliated himself with called Only, Onley, I think it is, Maryland, there where the funeral is going to be held on the 22nd of January. So for those of us who may want to make the time to go to pay tribute, that's the date. Everything else will follow as we move after the holidays.
Thank you, and enjoy the show.
Great. Tulay, can you introduce our topic today? I know you are from where you sit. There's a lot of introspection. There's a lot to be had. There's a lot to be discussed, and we're going to delve into that. Can you go ahead and see where we are at this point with these with the topics?
Yeah, CEO, can you share the link in our private chat, please? Because I'm not getting it. Or
yeah, I didn't get a link either.
Yeah,
but
line is not. It doesn't work well for me when the time I touch it starts to make noise.
I didn't get it either, so it's just not you.
Okay. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about the deepening crisis in Liberty Party, where it will end and where it's Joseph Boakai, in regards to being the head of the CPP and what is his role, all right, in the crisis right now. Does he have a role in the first place as the head of the Unity Party and one of the key contenders for the candidacy of the CPP? What it portends, the crisis, what it portends for him, where he stands on the issues. So we'll be delving deep into that. We'll look at the crisis, but we'll also, go gently into looking at the role of where we end, and then we'll look at where the astute elder statesman, Ambassador His Excellency Joseph N. Boakai, where he stands in the situation. The next thing we'll be also looking at briefly, depending on the amount of time we have, a NEC boss has been caught in corruption by an LACC audit, and it's just a disgraceful situation. We will look at that, and also the Prince Johnson sanction, the implications of these things for the 2023 election. We'll be looking into that. We want to see if there will be action, if the president will act on the LACC report, all right, or will the national legislature make recommendations since they have oversight. We did demand that the woman resign. We will look into this, what it portends for our national election that is coming up, basically, we'll say next year, in 2023. In almost like 2 years' time from now, we'll be having this very, very important, momentous, very, very important and momentous election in Liberia. It's very important because it will determine the way forward for our country for a long time to come. And because of that, there are a lot of things at play. So we want to see what this thing, corruption, NEC, imagine the person should be someone of high integrity. The person has been caught in swindling the country of peanuts. What does that portend? What does it mean for our national election? Is she going to have, because in terms of credibility, we know that she has no credibility. Okay, and she's heading an adjudicator. So that means everything coming out of her is already suspect. Will the president retain her in a position where he find a replacement? So we'll be looking into that. We'll look at the sanction U.S. against Prince Johnson. Is it a red flag situation, or does it really have any weight, any bearing on our national political dialogue and discourse? We'll look into that also. So that is in a nutshell, that is our show for today. And we want to say welcome to all those who are already tuned in, and to those who are going to tune in. We want to say click like and share this, share the link, so that more people can tune in, so that we can discuss these issues and we'll break them down. And we'll try to be as objective as we can. We promise. We may not be what you want us to be, but we'll do our best.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Tulay. Obviously, as you can see, we were trying to put together topics for today's show. And as you can see, Monrovia or Liberia is awash in breaking news, from the Liberty Party convention that was just held to the press conference that was just held about an hour ago by the NEC chairlady herself, attacking the LACC, to the Prince Johnson. I mean, it's a potpourri. Liberia now, as we speak, it's a potpourri of politics, economics, and everything else. And as we were coming on, there was some breaking news out of Grand Bassa County that we were talking about. One of the representatives from Grand Bassa County said they were bribed. And he knows he's going to call names. He has scheduled a news conference tomorrow, that he's going to call names for those who took the money from Metal Steel and then did 360, took the folks' money, then voted against them as though. It reminds me of John Kerry in the United States when he said, I was for it before I was against it. So they took the people's money, then they turned around and voted against them, and he said he's going to call names. So we are waiting for that news conference. So Liberia is awash in news of corruption, anti-corruption, counter-corruption, you name it, we have it. So Tulay, I know you are a member, a founding member, a beloved member of the Liberty Party. And Liberty Party is now going through some serious, I don't know what, at first we thought it was growing pain. And then later on it became, like Honorable Joseph Boyka said, birth pain, that we are pregnant at this point. We are going through the process, but we are going to birth. And at the time, everybody is going to be happy when a new baby is born. Did we see the birth of a new baby yesterday, Mr. Tulay?
No, Mr. Gayman, and unfortunately, we didn't have the time the last week to really look into this Liberty Party thing.
Please go ahead, educate us. You were there.
Yeah, the reality here is this. I know you support the government, And the crisis in Liberty Party and what it and how it affects the CPP is basically being done and in fulfillment of a desire of two individuals. And one on one hand is Madame Salif, and I will and what how it benefits her is she has sworn that Joseph Boakai would never be president of Liberia. So she will do everything in her powers to stop that from happening. The second person is President Weah. Whatever turmoil in the CPP benefits him because, like I said, is the 2023 election is very important, and he wants to, be re-elected. And the opposition, we want to remove him and replace him with someone we believe would do better than him. So it's a very important election. And the reality, I would say this to you, bro, and it may shock the ANC people. They are just pawns in this game. Man said he's just using Cummings, and Belete is using Cummings, and he's not even aware. He's not aware because in their calculus, they've already determined that there is no way that Cummings will be able to defeat George Weah. The people just say, let's just stay with the devil that we know. Plus the fact that Cummings doesn't have an established constituency. If you go to Corner West in Newtown, where the group of people stay, Cummings cannot even win George Weah in Corner West. Talk less of Canwake or any other place in Maryland County. He can defeat George Weah there. They know that. And then also again, don't forget, people will say, oh, we've been having Southeasterner all the time leading us, right? If you can count it from William Todman. From there, we went to Montserrado County. Then we went to about all the interim people, right? Charles Taylor was also from Montserrado County. So we went to Dole, Southeast, right?
Sino. Then we went to Sawyer. Sino.
Then we went to, yeah. But if you look at it, then Ellen Johnson Sirleaf also too from Sino. Then we come to George.
The interim president, Judy Bryan, also from Maryland County.
Oh, okay. Then we look at Wahini, the present one that is there, George Weah. So somebody would say, we've been led by Southeastern. What have they done for us? How much have they moved the developmental needle? So people would say, let's just stick with what we know because this guy is not known by us. We don't know this guy. He's a foreigner. He's a stranger to us. That in their calculus, in my view, this is my opinion, and this is not law. So what is happening now is, and I will say, let me just give, because I said it on the show yesterday, I need to say it here. Quickly, I will run quickly because we got to go to the show. Prior to 2011 election, Malam Sali was president, and we were gearing up to really, launch a counter bid against her for 2011 because she had already said she was going to be a one-term president, Mr. Gayman. So everybody believed that. But as things came to when we were getting closer, the language began to change, and she said she was going to run. ECOWAS sent John Kufuor and two other persons to meet with Charles Bromsky in Monrovia, and they told him, "Look, Mr. Bromsky, we know fully well that you have a legitimate chance, but we want to let you know that we are supporting Madam Salif in 2011." The meeting was held at Golden Key Hotel. Golden Key is just next to SKD there in that King Gray area.
That's correct.
So the meeting was held at Golden Key, and they told him, he said, look, so he came and told us, he said, look, if not for you people, not for my people, I would not even be in this race. Because it already been determined that the woman should continue. Okay, so but because of this, we'll give it our fair shot, but we already know the outcome. But ECOWAS told him that in 2017, we'll give you our support. So 2017 came around. I don't want to belabor it, so I will rush it. 2017 came around, ECOWAS decided to support him. Dangote, Aliko Dangote, the richest Nigerian, was the one that put forth the money through an ECOWAS initiative to raise the money to help the Bromsky campaign. Bromsky, being who he was, understood the implications of receiving foreign money into the Liberian electoral process. So he decided that he wasn't going to take the cash or anything from them for that matter. Whatever they were sending, let Madam Sadi send her own people to run it. Because he needed the money, right? And he really believed that he was mounting a very, having a good challenge for that election. The reason why he really wanted to be a blessing to Liberia. That ability and Wale Power then came to Liberty Party in 2017. Madam said he sent her people to run whatever based on that. Even the cars that were bought from that money, Madam said if Charles Bronski refused for the cars to be registered on the Liberty Party, they never registered the cars on the Liberty Party. All those cars and motorbikes and everything they showed, they didn't register it wherever, whatever paperwork they used to register it was their business. So when the election got over, Bronski told them to come to all the people using those cars to park them and give them back to Billy. Let Billy carry them. Because he was just using that as a means to rally people and do campaign. Was it right? I don't think so, because it wasn't legal. But was it expedient? I think so. We needed money, we needed funding for our campaign. Fast forward, Benedict then stayed in the party, even though you saw the tapes that have been released on Bronski was not happy with the way they went to support George Weah. They did it in a very inglorious manner. They did it in a very dishonorable manner. And he said that they really wanted to humiliate him. That's how he felt. But this man was not vengeful. Okay, he did not say, okay, let's kick them out of the party. He could have launched that bid right there, kick Ben Sanvi, what he named, Harrison Conway, and Billy out of the party. He told them, he told the people, he told his followers, you'll leave them. You'll leave them. The thing what they want to do, the thing they did, you'll leave them. So they stayed in the party, warming their ways. Musa was working until after the demise of Bronski. That's when Musa warmed his way, and with Yombli's husband passing, okay, after the new government sat, Yombli's husband passed, he warmed the way as a brother into her life, okay, and made her not to feel suspicious of anything he was trying to do. Mr. Gayman, I will say this to you. It wasn't Dillon and Senator Kanga that made Bilete chair of Liberty Party. The people you see today in the executive committee, all those vice chairmen chairmen that worked that are supporting Bilete today, were the ones that went to Zago and told Zago, look, man, we know that you became chair in 2018, but you do not have the money to run the day-to-day activities. Meaning in code, you don't have the money to be putting money in our pocket whenever we need it. Because after election, nobody's supposed to be coming and say, oh, we want money to run party until we're coming close to campaign periods, stuff like that. But they demanded, so they told him, say, we want you to step aside, we want Billy to go. They and Billy were already in cahoots now. So Zago agreed to step aside. But guess what? I will say this. The election or the convention in Banga that was held to make Billy chair was in abrogation of the constitutional provision of the 2015 constitution of the party. Meaning, the entire party agreed to do a web balloting, but it did not follow the laid down procedures as established in the constitution to make Billy chair. Yombli also agreed to give Billy some of her executive powers, because that was his condition. If he would spend his money and run a day-to-day party, he wanted more executive power. They gave everything to him. Mr. Gayman, it will be right after the convention. Madam said he popped up in Buchanan. I've not spoken to Yombli about this, but I've spoken with others who confirmed what Manasadi went to do. Manasadi went to Buchanan to go and tell Yombli to bring Liberty Party in the CPP under the ANC. That in fact, if anything, Yombli could even go as running mate to Cummings. But she received, Omekanga, she received, from what I have gathered, she received a different advice, okay, from her folks. Don't do it, because this woman was one of the person that worked to undermine your mentor and to stop his chances. She did all kinds of things to him and humiliated him whenever she had the opportunity. We know about the ECOWAS thing and all of that. So Yombli decided she wasn't going to do it, based on the advice that she received. But don't forget now, Yombli was amendable to Cummings before then. She was open to Cummings and they were working together. Okay, but when that advice came and Yombli made that point, everything went haywire. That's the time we started seeing all the different things that are happening. But I will tell you this, that Musa Belete is working for both parties. He's collecting money, and implementing for the CDT government, we are office through Nantana McGill, and he's also working for his political mentor because everything he has is because of that woman. I'll be frank with you. Everything Belete has is because of Madam Salif. Even when the banks took Belete to court, Madam Salif protected him. Belete should have been bankrupt by now. But the courts couldn't even touch the banks, and the courts couldn't touch Belete because Madam Salif was president. That's how it is. And because Belete also know that if he plays into we are good graces from even supporting him, even though he went almost empty-handed to support him in 2017, if he remains on the good side of we are, no bank can touch him, no court can touch him. He will just remain at large. So
okay, so
Mhm.
not to cut you off. Now,
No,
where we are at this point,
Mhm.
we say some parts of the Liberty Party have the love and the affections of the old Liberty Party. The Musability et al. Has the legal power as it stands. What is the will, or what is the future for Nyobli Kanga and her wing of the Liberty Party that does not have the legal right anymore at this point, as far, because from what I understand, between 16 and 24 of the executive members of the committee have committed solidly to be with whether under what circumstance, whether they're getting paid or not. I got it from Ben Sanvi himself, who flip-flop everywhere. Now, all of a sudden, he has solidified himself as a Liberty Party, ability, I don't know what the name would be, or Bilitan or whatever that would be. Now he came out and said now he firmly supports Musability and this wing of the Liberty Party. And they have circulated around the wagon, they have brought along everybody else. So where do we stand at this point? Those with the affection and the love and the memories of the old Liberty Party as opposed to those who have legal paper in their hand to run the Liberty Party.
It's hard. I'll be honest with you. The reason why I say it's hard, like I told you, it's the tyranny of the minority. Okay? Let me break it down. Somehow we manage to put executive powers, okay, terminal executive powers in the hands of people who are not elected. The members of the National Executive Committee are not directly elected to the executive committee. Some are persons who have played prominent roles in the party. Some are position holders in the party, in the current leadership. It's a mixture. They are brought together so that they can represent the broader party. But the reality is, if they decide to go for whatever inducement against the general good of the party, it becomes the tyranny of the minority. And there's nothing we can do about it. Because all they need is 16. 16 out of 31 are all they need. And in that group that supports Belete, there is a mixed multitude. You have people who have issues against Delon. You have people who have issues against Yombli. Generally, some of them even feel that they didn't even support Councillor Bromsky's decision to make Yombli political leader of the party in the first place. Okay, despite the fact she had done a stellar job in keeping the party together since she became chair, she had done a very good job. So their actions undermine. They try to undermine her in every way they can. That brand mentality now. The second thing that is obtaining there is this: when you look at the legality of the actions, like I said to you, the 2015 Constitution was abrogated by the conscious decision of the whole group to make Belete chair. In doing that, it affected somebody. A couple of persons were affected. Their positions were stripped from them because they were now on the side of the clique at that time. Emmanuel Zango is one of those. Emmanuel Zango lodged a complaint with NEC and with the National Advisory Committee and the political leader of the party, questioning the legality of the Banga Convention and the resultant 2021 Constitution. Because if something was established through illegality, it is delegitimized. And like I said, it's the tyranny of the minority.
But not to cut you off, we are seeing a lot of chaos. We're seeing a lot of confusion here. Now, someone like you and myself, or let's say me, because say what you may about Honorable Joseph Boyka. He's an elderly statesman. He's been in the arena for a while. People listen to him when he speaks. Whether you for him or not, you have to listen. Where is he in all of this? Because I remember when he was leaving the United States, he said, when I get on the ground, I am going to do all I can to reconcile our folks, and the North will come. But it looks like since he got on the ground, things intensified as to where they are now. Where is he physically and where is he politically?
He's on. I think he's back in Liberia by now. I'm not sure, but he left the country for a little bit. He went to, I think, Nigeria. Since he's been on the ground, he's been trying to talk to the conflicting parties. He's been speaking to them. But like I said, this thing, if I can background here and I can call names that can prove it. What Musa, the way Musa handled, you remember after the first election in 2017, right? Liberty Party there were people saying, let's support this and let's support that, right? And Bronski came back from the States and said, look, we are not going to support anybody as a party, but people are free to go wherever they want to go. That is the reason why when these guys when Ben Sanvi carried his people to Harrison Conway went to, CDC, nobody questioned them. It was within their rights. The only thing people said was the way it was done. It was done with dishonor. It was done to humiliate Charles Bronski. That is the problem with Liberian people. I can be with you today and I want to go to your opponent. I should be able to do it gloriously, that I can come back to you anytime and you and I can sit and talk. Okay, I should be honorable. I should be integrous enough to let you know this is my reason. I'll give you one example. Good. Dylan, 2011, after Kuford and came and told Bronski what they told him way before the election, that we're going to support Madam Salif, Dylan decided that it was an exercise in futility, plus other personal reasons to go and support Madam Salif. Now, once the Dylan speak disparagingly or cast expressions on Charles Bronski. In fact, he told Charles Bronski, I'm going to support Madam Salif. That's the reason why when Dylan wanted to come back, he came back easily. Because the way he did it. These guys, they did not cover themselves in glory. They did it ingloriously. They did it almost like street people. Let me put it that way.
But before you, I'm not coming up. Why haven't Boyka say anything in the public? At least
he's
a conference or something.
He's a diplomat. He will finish. He will exhaust. Once he has exhausted all instruments that are available to him, now it's already to the place. If you ask me sitting here, Mr. Gayman, if you ask me, I would say let's dissolve this pretense of a collaboration and everybody go their way. Better than them, what they have instruments of legality, like I said. And NEC will not rule right. Because NEC told Yombly to go an investigation in panel of investigation committee to look into the allegations or the complaints of Emmanuel Zango. The committee came out with their findings and she acted on it. And NEC said no right away. Without even NEC said no, NEC wrote a letter and invalidated everything Yombly did, even though they gave her the right to go and act. The reason why is this: if they say that the 2015 constitution should come back into force, it invalidates the 2021 constitution, and that strips Musa of everything that he has. Then he won't be able to carry out the plan of bringing Liberty Party away from Joseph Boyka, because the whole thing here is to strip, but they forget to know that the 16, 17 persons that he has in the executive committee do not constitute the wider body politic, the wider constituency of Liberty Party. No. And Yombly, just before she traveled to go for her daughter graduation at Penn State, all right, Yombly went to New Georgia. And she received rousing welcome from the women in that district. The people know who the leadership is. What Benedict is doing, It's just divide people away from his core because he has a few people that he's paying maybe $2,500 and they are selling their souls to him. And I will say again, most of these people they have come on an allegation of misappropriating campaign fundings in the past. They are the same people. Like I always say, politics makes strange beds, fellows.
Okay. Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead. Rest. Land.
Yeah. So where we are, Joseph Boakai, he will exhaust the instruments that are left with him. But I will be first to say he has very little chance of really adjudicating this thing to a very, very nice conclusion because the people are bent on doing. Give you a common example. Belete comes into the party. Forget about everything that's happened. You want to declare support for somebody. If you have any conscience, if you are a person with any level of integrity, honor, won't you wait for the entire party to get together and then they make the decision by taking a vote? No. Belete will rush the process because he had kicked other people away in his view and NEC has acquiesced. Why? Because at the end of the day, like we know, NEC boss honor corruption. And whatever ruling the court or NEC, you know who controls those arms now.
Okay, beautiful. A beautiful segue into our next subject, which is the corruption allegation in the NEC. The National Elections Commission, as you all know, we have been reading for the past 3 weeks, actually a month. Brother was awarded a no-bid contract for $180,000, basically under the table. The LACC has come and basically said, we have investigated. We found this woman to be corruption. It was a conflict of interest. I think she needs to be fired. Now, Mr. Tulay, I am a seditian. Everybody knows this. What does this say about the pending election? This woman has a character issue, and you are hearing this from a seditian. We in Liberia, as you know, from the time we were children, we were born to believe that nobody ever wins fairly. When we playing Ganga ball, when we play NAFO, even NAFO, when the girls lose, they blame it on something else. If you went to play soccer and you have not trained, you don't have the skill, you play another team that is better than you, will beat you, you blame it on either the referee cheated, is a medicine man, or in my case, I always used to say the big powers, they're bigger than us, as though size or age has something to do with skills and all of that. Now that every election I've ever held in Liberia, including the 2005, 2011, CDC went to court and said we were cheated. 2011, we said we were cheated. 2017, the switch flipped. The Unity Party, Liberty Party, the ANC all got together and flipped the switch on us, say, you're cheated. We were cheated.
Yeah.
But because you had a solid elections commission, the first one by the international community, the one by ourselves, solidly performed. So the Supreme Court had no other choice but to look at the facts. But now going into this election, whether the opposition win or loses, anybody can make a claim that this woman is corrupt. I don't believe in what she just put out. If she can sell thermometer for $180,000, we talk about just little stuff. What else she wouldn't sell for $1 million? And as a seditian, I agree with the LACC. This woman have to go. This is corruption. It has the propensity of bringing our security, our national security into a full glare. This is a national security issue. What says you?
Yeah, it is. It is, big brother. It is. I mean, I don't know what can be considered as enough for these people, right? She makes a lot of money. I don't even know how much they pay her, but it will be very, very, maybe around $10,000 a month or more. She makes more than a minister, I think, as the chairman of the National Elections Commission. She makes a lot of money. She gets everything free. Free gasoline, free diesel, free generator. They give you housing allowance and everything. But TOR is quite. I think I saw the one with Fromian, but I can't remember the values again. But it's quite substantial for a poor country like Liberia, and you expect NEC to be an integrity institution in the sense that they will operate within the confines of the law because they know that their actions will be scrutinized. But no, because we saw it with Fromian, we saw it with what he named the guy who was after Fromian, the one that just the Kokoya.
Kokoya.
And I would say this,
and Hammer before then.
As an IT person, I would say this: there is something wrong with the algorithm at NEC. There is something wrong with the software that is used to tabulate votes at NEC. It has a code in it that it can be triggered. That's what I believe.
Well, I know you were speechless because for the first time on air that you and I agreed to something so much that you have very little to say, because when the truth is staring you in the face, it has nothing to do with partisan. This is the honest truth. Just the way a few weeks ago we were here talking about the ambassador in Nigeria and the rape case and the way he handled it, and we are still calling for his recall. There are some things, there are some sins, there are some crimes that are so abhorrent you cannot you cannot justify it, you cannot sugarcoat it. How someone who makes that much money, that have all the benefits, and on top of that, your position is tenured. You cannot be fired unless you commit a crime.
And then there are extra budgetary. Let me tell you also, there are extra budgetary paddings in there. There are line instruments in the budget that are not really there for expenditure, but for padding, so that the money can be increased at the discretion of the leadership. She takes her share and she gives to the other commissioners. I know about that for a fact. One of the commissioners and I were very close in the past. So there are extra. It goes down even to the how they call them the guys who control the county. I forgot the name they have for them. The neck.
What does this say? The guys help me out here. When is how much is enough? When enough is enough? You and I make nothing. We got people making $100 a month. We got people making $75 a month. We got people making $200 a month. And we are talking about someone who make close to, like you said, when you add up all the paddings and all the benefits and all the pageantry, it's close to $20,000 to $25,000 a month here. So how much is enough for you to take $180,000, okay, and not give it not even a friend, but to your own brother within your own system? Okay, I'm a manager here, and let me land here. I'm a manager here, and the law here says I cannot hire a relative or a friend of mine in my own company unless they are under the supervision of somebody else in a different department. And you are talking about, this is a law, federal law. And then you are talking about taking huge sum of money, bypassing the bidding process, and awarding this particular contract to your brother. And then you want to say that there's nothing illegal about that? I mean, please.
Okay, we forgot even the nepotistic aspect of the contract and all of that. But I mean, how much is enough? You're talking about thermometers or whatever it was. I mean, something that is so cheap. And I told you, I said padding. The padding is there. They have all these monies that they something for $10 they will budget $150 for it, multiply it, and the people that we were talking about, the electoral magistrates in the counties, these guys are balling. Those guys are balling every time they have an election. These guys are balling because if they need, I'm telling you, they're balling. The neck balling is from the top all the way down to the bottom. If they need 150 how you call it, pool workers in a particular place, they're budgeting for maybe 500. Yeah, they're budgeting 500. Now the electoral magistrates are under a group of people. I forgot their name. I don't know, man. I just, because I've been not thinking about this thing for a long time, I didn't plan to talk about it today. But they are under sectional leaders, and they gotta eat their own too. So at every angle of neck is just corruption. Nothing that comes out of that, including that letter that came out that said we hold the until otherwise the 2021 constitution is the one that we recognized. We know they're not okay. The first thing next should be is independent. They should be independent of the judiciary. They should be independent of any kind of influence from anybody. They should be very independent, and they should fight to establish their independence. Look at the amount of accusation that are hanging over this woman. Apart from the issue of corruption, there's also the issue of her having some link with the executive. And it shouldn't be. You should find somebody who is independent, so that you can have transparency and integrity at the end of the day, so that whatever comes out can be very, very, very valid and legitimate. So when we look at NEC, you see, there are two things I'm looking at here. Like I said, I believe there is something in the software at NEC. That software needs to be changed. That's my opinion. But also, again, whatever comes out, it's left with the president to say, I'll accept the result or we will change the result. That's how Liberia is. That's how powerful the president is. And the president does. We saw it with doing Emma Hammer, right? We saw it with doing Emma Hammer. They were not using softwares at that time. They were tabulating votes with hands and maybe a few word processing machines. And we saw how they changed the results in 1985. And I saw how they changed the result between Buffer Chambers and Boblet Doe or something like that. The guy who is one of the senators
from Maryland County.
Maryland County. That election was won. That election was won by Buffer Chambers fair and square. Vani Sirleaf, who I think he's still the Minister of Internal Affairs today, if I'm not mistaken. Vani Sirleaf went to Maryland County. When he got in Maryland County, the results started to change. Man, Liberia is a hopeless case in a lot of ways.
Okay,
fighting though, but it's not easy.
It is. Ladies and gentlemen, you were coming out here today to look for a fight between Mr. Tulay and myself. Today we are basically on par, because some of these things that we are talking about, they are appalling. For the election commission chair lady to actually sit at a press conference about an hour ago to look the Liberian people in the eyes and say that the LACC is biased and guilty of leaking information to the press before due process of law. They want the Liberian people say you get dry face. The dry face is unbelievable. But we are going to take a few seconds for our station to identify herself. And when we come back, we'll go to the comments. And then after that, we will discuss our final topic, which is the sanction of Prince Johnson. And Mr. Tulay is going to put all the days together. So, like you say, what does that say about our pending election? What does this say about 2023? Are the Americans sending us subliminal messages? We are going to all tally all the days and tie all loose ends. So we are going to identify, our station going to identify ourselves, and then we'll come back and we'll go to the comment section, and then we'll go to the last segment.
You got to, Dennis said he was stepping away, so I don't know.
Okay, so let's go into the last section here. Let's look at the sanction. You know a little bit, as I do, about the Malinsky Act. Give us a little history about this Russian guy. What made him so powerful that we are all now speaking Russian in the West? Naming an act after him, going to Africa, going to mostly in African countries, because I know they never went after, they are going after Trump. They never went after Trump, but they are going after third world countries that are dependent. Talk a little bit about this act.
No, you go ahead, Mr. Gayman. Let me read something quickly. I just looking at something down. Go ahead.
Okay, great. Now, for those of you who you know me, I am a supporter of CDC, And I support Prince Johnson in every way. Because Prince Johnson is a man, at first, I was bitter against Prince Johnson because I adored Samuel Doe and the purpose and the principle for which he came to power and the way that he was tortured on international TV. I remember vividly those calls, tango, tango, over tango, tango, over, where kind of Budweiser that is etched in my brain. I can still see that bottle, that can of Budweiser that signifies, I know it could have been, I would have preferred that it was club beer, but it wasn't club beer. It says Budweiser and tango, tango. Who was at the other end, the receiving end of the messages that we are talking about today? Tango, tango. Who supplied Prince Johnson with a Budweiser beer in the tropical heat in Africa, in Liberia, torturing, cutting the ears of a sitting president, asking where he keeps the money, and eventually killing the president of Liberia. This is somebody that we knew that did not belong among the civilized people of the world. Yet and still, anybody who has a critical thinking cap that can analyze would know that Prince Johnson could not afford Budweiser. He could not order Budweiser from the United States into a military camp. We know that was not possible. So with whom was Prince Johnson working? For whom was he working? We have seen around the world what has happened to men and women that have worked for the United States CIA. I will look at people like a person like Noriega. Noriega couldn't do any wrong in this country. Noriega was our man from Panama. He could kill, he could torture, he could maim. When they had no use for Prince Johnson, for Noriega, you know what they did? They kept finding things on Noriega until finally they were able to get him. We can go around the world and see what happened to Charles Taylor. Charles Taylor felt like he had the backing of the CIA and the United States, that he couldn't listen to anybody. He could do no wrong. And when they had no need for him, he was disposed of. So we know all of these things are happening. So what does this say about the 2023 elections?
Oh, okay, Mr. Gayman, the 2023 elections, like I said, is pivotal. Mr. Gayman, I always say this. Since the inception of our country as a nation, our people have really never gotten a break. Let me put it that way. Let me put it this way. Our people have never, it had not been a conscious effort, except for maybe the brief period, the 9 years that Turbo ran this country, they ran Liberia, where he put in place real policies that uplifted the lives of the poor people. Turbo saw, how you call it, BWI. He knew that only a few students would get into BWI. What to magnify the BWI effect, where you give people trade skills as they come out of high school. He opened the multilaterals. He built well-furnished campuses, one in Vonjema, one in Habel, one in Zwedru. They were just part of the pilot. They should have gone and done it in almost all the counties. The reason why we are where we are is because as a nation, our people, those in leadership, never consider the poor. The poor are an afterthought. Give you a common example. George, we have been in power for 4 years. Madam said he was there for how many years? 12 years. The traffic situation in Monrovia is not normal. And you would think that a reasonable and responsible civil authority will look for ways to mitigate that situation so that people the children don't have to wake up 4 o'clock from Tinker Village and Doison to be able to get to town before the traffic builds up. And then they get on campuses while it's still dark. And the parents have to sit with them until time for school, 7 o'clock or so, before they can leave them and start going to work. That thing is posing a problem, is putting hardship on the people. And nobody wants to do anything about it. I'll give you another example. It seems with the traffic situation, all the main roads entering the city are not dualized. All the main roads entering the city are not dualized. The road from Douala going all the way, and a group of people have moved onto that bumming highway, single lane. The road going from red light into that other side, single lane. The road going, and we do all kind of things. We're giving energy to the city $1 million. She not in government. And then plus another $200,000. When we're supposed to be looking for ways to improve the material well-being of the people. So 2023 is pivotal. Will George Weah wake up to the reality that he has a lot of technocrats out there? They don't have to agree with him politically, but he can bring them and use them if he has a plan, a purpose to be able to help the poor people in Liberia. Will he do that? Or will it be a continuation of the scene, hoping at the end of the day that it can swing the election if it swings away from them? Then we're looking at the Cummings angle. Doesn't have a constituency, okay? Doesn't have anybody, any set group of people, except for the diaspora noise makers who have, some of them have not even been to Liberia for decades. They don't have anybody can even influence a chicken to leave one yard and go to the next yard by putting rice on the ground. And they're here making noise, as if to say their words really matter. They can't influence anybody. They have not even made anybody to enter into politics in Liberia. Okay? They are the ones that Kumi is listening to. And all the calculus is so infantile. It's like people who are not strategically thinking about the way forward for Liberia. So you have you on one hand believing that Malasari is in his interest, or that George Weah is in his interest through ability. And you know fully well at the end of the day they're going to mess him up. He's already messed up. That's how I look at it. Because he got ability with a few members of the executive committee, but he doesn't have the party. The bulk of the party, they call me, I speak to people every day. Everybody. So even if you want the thing, look at all these people that I'm talking to on a daily basis. Some of them got somebody like Jibber Colley, for instance, have influence in Lofa County. He's against you. Okay, I can name people from Banga, from Bon County, from Nimba County, and things like that. They're all against you. What are you thinking? How will you do politics? I thought you're supposed to, as a politician, you're supposed to be thinking about how to get people on your side. You get ability, and then you turn the entire party against you.
What sense does that make? But
let me just make the point before you come in. We talk about 2023. Then we have Joseph Boca on one side, and he has mass appeal. From what I have gathered, he has mass appeal. Will he deliver is the question everybody will ask, because we've seen that is a challenge, because it's just one man. What matters is the team that he has around him. Will he assemble a crack team of people who believe in Liberia, who want to deliver to the poor people? For Cummings Bar, I've already dismissed him because I know fully well is an exercise in futility. I call it bad market. It's not going to sell. So what we're looking at is this. George Weah has the money. You know that they have printed money. They have printed money, man. I said he did the same thing too for 2017. They printed money. That printed money, accountability for the printed money. How much money was printed? Who followed them? Who made a contract? Who know how much money they how you call it down? The contractor, the printer. How much money the person printed? How much was delivered to the Central Bank of Liberia? Which one is in one container in some other yard parking somewhere waiting for expenditure for election campaign time? So these are all the different things we're talking about. At the end of the day, you know who's going to be screwed if things are not done well? Joe Blow selling in real market.
Well, guess what? I think there are people out here talking in my ear. They say you are a conspiracy theory, you believe in Bigfoot. So, so we'll leave it up. But back to the topic on the serious note. In the United States, when 2004, between 2004 and 2000, 1994 and 2000, we had Bill Clinton made his particular description of the two political entities in the United States. He says the Democrats fall in love, the Republicans fall in line. So here we are. We know that Madam Salih, those of us on the other side, believe that she lost the election to George Weah in 2005. There were a little contention. They told him, say, Mr. Weah, relax. 2011, they lost the election. The case will go on a rampage. They call him and say, listen, we know who you are. Get in line. You are next.
Come to Abuja.
Yeah, if you don't shake the boat and everything works out, and you work with the president and everything works out, I think you're next. That was the conspiracy that we were hearing. Are you sensing this thing that maybe, just maybe, Cummings is saying to himself, if I do what the madam wants me to do, and if I lick the boots, and if I follow, maybe 2029 I will be next. Do you think that could be some of the logic in this swinging that's going on?
Yeah. And I believe is a key point that is going on right now. But the mistake here is, how can you be so asinine, if you ask me? All right. Yeah, we were ready to turn to you, sir, but you were not there. The key point here is as time goes by, so will what's his name now? What's the guy? Jerome McGill. As time goes by, so will the stature of McGill grow. People fear McGill in that George Weah government more than George Weah himself. People fear McGill. People regard McGill more.
So do you think McGill? You think it's going to be a switch and bid kind of stuff where
McGill is not going to allow
Cummings into spending his money and then switch him with somebody else 2029?
Yeah, the idea is he did it with Madame Machiavelli. For her, the end justifies the means. Okay, that's how I call her now. That the new nomenclature I've given her, Madame Machiavelli, because Greece wrote the book, The Fist of Machiavelli. Let me just give her the name, Madame Machiavelli. Madame Machiavelli is very duplicitous. She's luring this guy into a false sense that he's on her team and that she's supporting him. And Musa would say the right thing. He said the right things to Yombli to warm his way into. This guy used to go and say, "Oh, I don't want that my political leader personal life, so I will leave it."
Okay.
Yeah. Well, hold on.
Later, quick, so we'll go to the comments.
You asked the question. Let me finish now. They will tell this guy the things that he needs to hear. They did it to people before. She agreed until the point that when she was still supporting Bromsky, Alpha Conde, who was host in Guinea, flew to Liberia and confronted Madame Salih verbally about her actions that were against Bromsky. Confronted her verbally and told her, we are aware of what you are doing, but it was in vain. It was in vain. You can trust. Nobody can trust that woman, man. Nobody can trust that woman. So right now, when you ask me, Cummings is screwed royally. And I would say this: he already created enough political enemies already. So let him just forget about his bid for being president of Liberia.
Okay, we're going to go to comments. Let's read some of the comments, and if we have any calls for you or for me, we will take the calls, and we'll be wrapping up very soon. I know we have another show coming on. Read the comments, Mr. Tulay.
Yeah, my eyes will be good today.
Okay, you want me to read it?
Let me go ahead. Mr.
Okay.
Gayman, please don't allow George to bring hearsay here. I won't respond to him. George Kanneh Tulay, you are resorting into sectionalism. I understand. I would never say anything to please the Cummings crowd anyway. Were you in the meeting? Can you imagine this? Mr. Bronskin denied that. All the way I told you. Anyway, go ahead, go ahead, Dennis. Let's go. Emmanuel Jackson said the monetization of leadership in our political economy serious hurdle for building credible institutions.
I agree.
It's how Liberia is. You're right. Royal Smith, Dillon and Yombly ate their lunch money before lunchtime. Royal Smith again. Yombly and Dillon sold Liberty Party to Billy. No, that's not true. You are very right, George Kanneh Tulay. These are information that we are witness. Okay, too. Yeah. All right. Dillon was expelled, and that's a lie. Dillon wasn't expelled. Ismail Williman. Mark Dennis, Dillon lied to us. Your opinion. Let's go ahead. Willett Dumba. Let elections 2023 be a new beginning. If we retain a corrupt boss at neck, a fair election is next to impossible. She needs to go now, and the election is doomed, and Liberia remains as is. Dillon was never expelled. Jibbe Kwali. The next comment. Oh, okay. Joseph Conte, Mr. Gayman. George is contradicting himself here. Tulay cannot be trying to defend Senator Yombly Kanga Lawrence against Mr. Billy becoming chairman of the Liberty Party, but it is the same Senator Kanga who presided over the process that brought Billy to power. The process was illegal. Whether she presided over it or not, it doesn't make it it was in abrogation of the constitutional provisions regarding the convening of conventions.
So are you saying that she took part took part in an illegal activity for which she should be sanctioned?
Yeah, you can sanction her, no problem. She doesn't have to be. She can be sanctioned but guess what? It was the will of the majority. It was the will of the majority. These same people that are called the tyranny of the minority, they were able to convince people regarding the same thing, the monetization. Somebody just spoke about, Emmanuel Jackson, talk about the monetization of our political process. The people wanted money. These guys wanted when they broke, they go to Musa Bede, get them money, so they wanted him to be chair, get him that responsibility. They made noise to the point that the political leader acquiesced. Go ahead, okay, you do what you want to do. That's it. Okay, so Mr. Jerome Gayman, let me put on my critical thinking cap here. Did PYJ have to do what he did? So let's stop playing the blame game here. PYJ knew all these things you need. So why did he obey and took Bob Weiser for his country?
Well, Mapu, go ahead. Dwight.
Yeah. How can you, Dwight, how can you question Johnson drinking Bob Weiser when he was sitting in the port of Monrovia? That's where he got the Bob Weiser from, to be honest. He got it from the port. He didn't get it from the Americans. Okay. Dave Ja. What was the employment rate of Liberians on Untitled Tulay? Oh, bro, you missed the last show we had. It was glorious. Wow, Tulay, you are speaking real truth, Emmanuel Jackson. I think we'll take 3 more and then you are also a diaspora Liberian. Wow, he really have. She didn't end her thoughts. Siada Townsend. These ANC people and myself, we only. If y'all know how the police call me, the you people call me the Grumble Wolverine. You just starting. Y'all put on y'all get ready. Insults or whatever. It don't even move me. We're just starting. Dave Ja, how have the quality of life of Liberians been any different under any administration in Liberia? Please support with evidence, not just emotional outlandish statement about the messianic nature of Toba. You see, Mr. Gayman and myself went through this thing the last time. Yeah, we got facts. That's a different show. We'll do it another show again. We'll announce it that we'll do another show again. We'll look into these things. Not because they killed him and they saying little woman born so means that what they did was right or mean that he was a bad leader. Even Church people call the man a progressive. At the TRC, Church people overly stated many times that Toba was a progressive. I can give you evidence that Toba was a progressive. The ADPs that he established, how they transformed counties, they transformed the economy of Lofa County, they transformed the economy of Bon County. Okay, the schools that he established, Agrimenco planting rice and LPMC being vibrant, exporting cocoa coffee and bagging rice and selling local rice, locally produced rice. Bro, that different topic for different day. Mr. Gayman, come 2023, your government will be out. That's Helena Kiwi or something like that. Do I put? See a man who supports a man who, since he walked from 40 or 50 years ago on a dusty road, the road is still rusty and
Impossible.
impossible after serving the government for 43 years. Like, he's the one that makes the budget. The guy is funny. But okay, Eddie Harris. Okay, keep this missing. You'll find yourself voting for Weah. I will gladly do that. Once Joseph Bogana in the race, Judge Weah has me as his supporter. Helen Akibi. Okay, Liberians are waking up. Things are going to be different this time around. I agree. Helena Akibi, rather. The way I put again. It's always dumbfounded when someone sits in the diaspora but labels other diaspora based on their political ideology. Oh no. Well, anyway. Dada Logan, Liberians are for real change. Cumming is his own man, and he is the man for the presidency. Cumming will win the presidency come 2023. Elena Akibi again. Dillon and the political leader are crooks in the Senate. And the political leader are crooks. Yes, T Go. Great conversation, guys. Okay, 2 more, bro. Then we go. Margaret, yeah. Jala Aku, President, we are all the way.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, sit on there. You carry a Canadian passport to go vote. Let's go.
Do we have any calls?
Okay, yeah, 1 or 2 or 3 calls we can take before we leave from here.
Because I know they want to.
While we're waiting for the calls. Oh, no calls yet.
Okay,
While
great.
waiting for the calls, Mr. Gayman, what is your view on the issue of Prince Johnson and the entire thing that has to do with the establishment of the War Economics Crime Code that some of us have been clamoring for, and you and your party have been totally against it, even though your chairman said he met Obama and Obama gave him the thumbs up that they were going to establish a War Economics Crime Code in Liberia, or War Crimes Code in Liberia.
The Molu that met Obama was the Saul. The Molu that we have now has turned to Paul. So so we are dealing with a transformed, spiritually divine Molu. But let's go back to the sanctions. We are talking about a sanction, to me, that has no teeth, is not based in fact, because what was said in the letter of the sanction could have been attributed to you, myself, the CEO of this company. We are talking about people who are selling votes. If you look at a friend of mine called me from Atlanta, who is the editor-in-chief of The Perspective, he said the Liberian government, the Liberian legislature won $6 million assigning bonus to sign the Estella Metal contract. They requested $6 million assigning bonus. Now,
from who? From the
Metal Steel company. You remember the first time Metal Steel put forth the proposal? They provided pickup truck for everybody. You remember that?
Yeah.
This time around, they do not want pickup truck, but they want $6 million in cash.
I will do the calculation.
Yes. So now here we are. How is it that we are not calling that pay to play? If the sanction letter from the U.S. Treasury Department on Prince Johnson said that he has been selling vote, he has been doing his political play power, it's pay to play. If we are saying here that in 2005, Metal Steel, or whatever time that was, Metal Steel came to power and gave Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and the previous government all pickup trucks, and you name it. plus everything else that came along with it. I think it was like 105, 107 pickup trucks that were given. This time around, they are asking for $6 million. I think the gentleman from Basa said each one was supposed to receive $50,000 per. If that is true, what does that say about the Treasury Department and that claim that Prince Johnson was paying or has a policy that you have to pay to play?
I think
what happens to that?
Mr. Gayman, the reality here is they're looking for, like I said, the lowest hanging fruit in the whole Prince Johnson saga to pick to come after Prince Johnson. So it's like the beginning of the rope. They're looking at pay to play. But if it's pay to play, then every member of that House of Senate and every member of the House of Representatives are all supposed to be under indictment by the U.S. Department of Treasury.
Excellent. So
Because our entire, with the exception of none, okay, I'm bringing the entire national legislature. So if you ask, somebody says Dillon and Yombi, they're there. Yes, they are there. They are all there. Okay, until we see, because Dillon has tried, but he's still there. He's still there because until we see a real sense of change emanating from that body, they all are guilty, just as Prince Johnson. What Prince Johnson is guilty of, that some of them are not guilty of, is those extra acts that he committed during the war.
Well,
you can blame him for that.
and
But if
this-
you blame him for paying to play,
Yeah,
I'm telling you, they just coming after him. Is at the beginning of the rope. You will hear.
Yes, and I agree. You asked earlier what was my stand on the War and Economic Chronicle and why I have pushed back against that. Is exactly because of this. If you are bringing War and Economic Chronicle to Liberia, we want everybody. We are talking about everybody that was.
Somebody's on hold.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Bring them on.
Somebody's on hold. There's a lady called Margaret Mapu Dyson. She says she's on hold. I don't know if Dennis is still around because he just came from a long trip. So, he said we should continue. All right.
Okay. So here we are. We are talking about if you are bringing War and Economic Crime Court, we expect that everybody will be given the fair shake. And if you are talking about those who bear the greater responsibility, I would say the Prince Johnsons of the world, the Tom Wowoyus of the world, the Dinah Chairs of the world, the Ellen Johnson Sirleafs of the world, the Brides of the world. These are the folks, but knowing, like you said, they would rather go after the lowest hanging fruits. Everybody knows that if you were talking about the war and you wanted to talk about anybody whose action you will be mad with, everybody will pick Prince Johnson. So Prince Johnson obviously would be the lowest hanging fruit here. This is why some of us are saying, if you are going to bring the War and Economic Crime Court and you're going to leave out all the planners, the financiers of the war, to go after the likes of those who executed the war, then you might well forget it. This is our stand because we know where they are going. Now here we are. You are trying to do a Noriega on us here in Liberia. You use this man when you could. Now that you had no more use for him, you're trying to dispose of him at our expense. And we are saying no. This is where we are at this point. And we are saying, some of us are saying, the War and Economic Crime Court, it is not going to be what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but Mr. Gayman, let me tell you something. This is where I disagree with you, and I would say categorically clear. When South Africa determined, and it was under the ANC government, when they determined, the first government under Nelson Mandela, when they determined to impanel the Bishop Tutu Commission, the TRC Commission, they knew that it was going to call people like Nelson, Winnie Mandela. They knew, and she was the most. I think at that time they were still even married. Okay, they knew that it was going to hold her. So if they were going to hold, some people say, "Oh, the mistake was that the commission compared the actions of those who were resisting the regime, the apartheid regime, it placed them on the same pedestal and demanded the same accountability from them that they were demanding of the people in power, the apartheid regime. So they were saying that there were no parity in that sense.
Great.
Where am I going with this? In Liberia, as much as we are aware of the issues that not everyone will be held accountable the same way, the reality here is this: whether we choose to make it restorative or punitive, we must be able to find closure for the actions that were perpetrated that led to the deaths of 300,000 of our people. Whether you go to jail or not is another thing. We will determine that, but we must be able to have that thing. What is said in South Africa, apply for amnesty. If you know you committed crimes, apply for amnesty, come before the amnesty group of the TRC and admit to your actions, and then we can look and see if we will grant you amnesty or not. So a lot of the perpetrators that happened in Nuremberg in Germany, a lot of perpetrators of apartheid, those who did the terrible killings, they all went to jail. Few went to jail, I agree, like Eugene de Kock and other people. But where am I going with this? In Liberia, it can be the same. We will hold people, we will let them come and sit down and speak the truth. So impunity will die. So tomorrow, nobody will say, I have the opportunity to take gun and kill people because I'm in disagreement, and nobody can hold me accountable. Come on, man.
Excellent. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us and discussing the issues. We are now going to go into our closing segment. We have a great show coming up next that you will love to be around. Madam Sayed,
I think they said we have a caller. Yeah, Dennis, let's go. Let a caller speak.
We are running out of time. We are talking about advancing knowledge of development. 53 years of Liberian Studies Association. Let's talk about that. I know we have the time is fast spent. They have a time.
Mapu Dyson was trying to
hold on. We have a caller. Caller, go ahead. You have 1 minute. Your name and where you calling from.
I'm calling from Georgia. My name is Margaret. Commonly known as Mapu.
Go ahead, Margaret.
How are you guys? How are you doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
Every one of you on the panel. I'm just calling. You don't have my sympathy, okay? I felt so bad when you were crying there for your friend and brother. But I wanted to talk about Mr. Tulay, your comment. So people who don't make any kind of work towards what's going on in Liberia. That's not true. You know, when you come on, sometimes you need to give people like us credit. People out here trying to fight for the betterment of Liberia, trying to impose things that will better Liberia. We too feel the pain. We too suffer under we suffer by the system. We are all victims of the system, and we fight in our weak ways to come and talk to the Liberian people. So you don't make us look like we're insignificant or hint at that when you're talking. And Jerome, come on now. What's about Mr. Johnson being boy-wise or crazy? No, he's not. He wasn't boy-wise or crazy. He knew just what he was doing. He just got hydrated enough to continue his rampage on the president. You know, so he needs to, things need to be leveled at him. He needs to be punished. And apart from that, he murdered people, Americans, you know. So that's what I wanted to say too. I got so much more to say, but this is not the forum for it. Okay, guys? Hello?
Thank you.
We're listening to you.
Thank you very much. She's a very concerned citizen, and she's very active on social media. She speaks her mind. She says it exactly as she feels, and she calls it in the middle. Sometimes she's against me. She would talk to me. She would write me. She would do it. But whenever it was right, she says it. So those are the folks that we like. We don't want people that will just sing praises to you, that call your name and worship you. We are talking about folks who will call it in the middle. When it's right, it's right. When it's wrong, it's wrong. Mr. Tulay, go to your closing so we can let our great group come in.
We'll be back here on Sunday again, all right? We will be discussing the issue as they happen, current events, looking at, and we will take one day. I know one caller was talking about, Talbot and all of that. We're not trying to wax nostalgic about the past or whatever, but we have to respect, we have to say the truth and put things as they are. We've had some great leaders in Liberia, and for me, top of the list was William R. Tolbert. And coming to today, what was the Americans' right to hold Prince Johnson accountable for even just a little thing, even though somebody would say it's insignificant or it's out of place or I disagree with it. Yes, it's important that they hold Prince Johnson accountable. Somebody have to hold Prince Johnson accountable, man. This guy was, judge, jury, and executioner in the lives of countless Liberians and people of importance too. And nobody helped. Nobody. He's just living his life with impunity. And so I'm for it. Whatever way, since we in Liberia cannot do it, everybody afraid that if Prince Johnson go after Prince Johnson will revert to conflict or the Nima people will have an uprising or whatever. And so he has been on this thing and enjoyed himself, and nobody has held him accountable. It's time that we change that narrative in Liberia. So, Mr. Gayman, I want to say thanks to all those who have been tuned in. Liberty Party, no matter what Musa Bility does, listen to me today, guys. No matter what Musa Bility does, it's not going to change the fact, the heart of the people, our Charles Bromskin. And when Charles Bromskin left, he left Yombli Kanga as our political leader. And because our hearts are with Charles Bromsky, we trust him, we respected him, we respect Yombli Kanga, we trust her, our full support is with Yombli Kanga, and nothing can change it. Not even the tyranny of the minority. 16, 17 persons acting on behalf of the entire party, swindling the interests of our party for gains. It can't change nothing. Thank you, Mr. Gayman.
Well, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Brother Tulay, thank you very much for your passion. Like I said, the Liberty Party that we knew when we were growing up is no more. Some people really want to question the minds of Brunskin. When we were growing up, we thought he was a legal luminary. We thought he was a revolutionary. But now that we are looking at this document he put together for the Liberty Party that gave himself absolute power, is now giving some of us second thought. But today was a beautiful day. Mr. Tulay, thank you very much for your sympathy. Today is not one of those days that we come out here to either gloat or beat up on each other because a friend, somebody that we adored, somebody that everybody knows. A friend of mine called me and said, Edward Doe and I were in every chat room and they kick him out of every chat room. He said, but soon they kick him out, everybody misses him. That's who he was. You may not have agreed with him, you may disagree with him, but you will miss him because everybody likes to debate Edward Doe. Edward Doe and you will be on the same team, and in a flip-flop, he's on the other team because you have gone astray, you have deviated from the topic. That's who he was. He was a friend and a brother. He had twin girls, and I had twin girls. They are a year apart. Mm-hmm. So every time we thought we had a lot in common. The twins, they never met Doe. My wife never met Doe. A lot of folks have never met Edward Doe. But when Edward Doe passed, everybody in my household was shocked. And the twins told me, Daddy, we have to go. Even though we have never met him, we don't know who he is. But we learn more about the difference and the similarity between the Kru people and the Bassa people. We learn more about the Kru people in our household than you ever taught us. And they appreciated that. That's the impact that Edward Doe had on everybody he dealt with. Like him or not, he will bring out either the best or the worst in you. And we were glad to be a part of it. Now, on our corporate side, if you are accustomed to using all the other money section in the place here, Sendwave, MoneyGram, or Western Union, let's support each other. We have a Liberian, okay? The Kanneh Cash. I'm telling you, I used this, I tried it, it worked. This guy is for real. For the first time, we got made in Liberia. How to send money, use this. This is our own. We have to embrace it. We have to encourage more to come. Go to your Apple store, your Google App Store and download the app, and you begin to send money right away. This is beautiful, and we want to thank the CEO for working along with Mr. Kanneh to establish this. And I think it's going to be good for our people. It's always good to have choices. And when we have choices, we have competition, and when we have competition, services improve. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned for the next show that's coming on with our friend and sister. We'll talk about 53 years. They were taking 53 years back, and we're going to go. Coming right after this, Advancing Knowledge for Development, 53 years of the Liberian Studies Association in the United States. You know where they are. I think the folks from the University of Indiana and all of that will have a lot to say about this, but this is beautiful. Stay tuned. See you next week, same time, same place. Never forget our song, whether you are for or against, opposition or imposition, we are all Liberian.
We are Liberian. Liberia is our home.